Welcome to the Third Strike Primer for Ken. Now, a lot of you think that Ken is very bland and boring, but no, Ken really is Third Strike, and starting out, Ken is a great character to learn because he can teach you all the nuances of Third Strike, and he can really capitalize on you knowing the nuances of Third Strike. Now, with that being said, Ken is still a very honest character. He doesn't really have too many real cheap stuff. If Ken player's beating you, he is probably just outplaying you. With the consideration that he does have some very good matchups in this game. So, with that being said, let's look at his move list. Very simple. He's got a Hadouken, uppercut, hurricane kick, and he can do the hurricane kick in the air. We're going to focus on super number 3, Shippu Jinrai, which is a great super, one of the better ones in this game. So, let's look at his normals. Jab, very standard. Medium, very good for Ken, and it's good for Ken because of how good his super is. You can link a super after this, and we'll get into that later. Same with his jab and his jumping jab. The elbow stays out there for a long time, so I mean, whatever. You can use it to stuff things, but not really that elegant in the air. Crouching medium punch, very good in this game. Can be cancelled or linked to super number 3, so again, very a very good move for Ken's game. Furious is a good move for Ken too. Crouching Furious can go into super. Who could imagine that? Standing Furious is good in certain matches, specifically against people like Dudley and Hugo. It's good against Dudley because he has a very short jump, and this can peg him a lot when Dudley is trying to come in with the jump. Let's get into his shorts. Crouching short, of course, can be going into super, along with the jab that I didn't mention. Standing short, whatever. If you're going to use short, use crouching. Low forward, of course it can go into super. Very good for Ken's just overall footsie and general game. You should be very familiar with this normal and where its optimal range is, and where he thrives at it. Anywhere in this kind of area, low forward is going to be really good, because right here you see he doesn't really quite hit, but if the person sticks out a normal the same time as you are, you're probably going to win, unless it's like a ridiculous normal like Chun-Li's back fierce or something. Great for counter poking when someone whiffs like a move or something. It's very easy for the Ken players to use that low forward and go right into super. Standing forward, this is used sometimes for advancement, but not really. It shouldn't really be used all that often. It is only one hit. It's easy to be parried, and it's low risk if you're known to be prone to be doing this, to kind of get close and push them farther into the corner. It's very low risk for them to try to go for that parry. Let's say they mess up and they just get tagged. It doesn't really go into anything. So, back medium kick. This is the axe kick. It can be comboed into super, and I'll show you that later. But it can only be comboed into super after it hits them when they're crouching. It's 2 hits. If they do block it, the second hit can be red parried, and most of the people that you're gonna play are never gonna do this to you. But it's been done to me, and I've done it to people quite a few times. At like Denjin and FFA. So once you get into the higher bracket of players, just be wary of that. Standing roundhouse. This is a great standing roundhouse. It's it hits very meaty. It has a very strong hitbox. It stays out there for a good amount of time. Very strong to be using against them on their wake up when you're like at max distance. You don't have to be right up next to them and do immediate. You can stay out here and hit them with immediate when they wake up from a very good distance. His sweep is very good, also good for counter poking if you want to get that knockdown and you don't have a super, or you're too far away to combo from the low forward to like an uppercut, let's say, or you know, whatever. So good for counter poking if you don't have meter or anything to hit that knockdown. His jump-ins, Roundhouse is great for jumping. Fierce, I guess you could use sometimes, but normally if you're going to be jumping in, you want to use Roundhouse. Very strong normal. Gives a lot of hit stun to allow you to combo into your next move. Crossovers, you want to use medium kick. And jumping neutral, I think medium kick would probably be your best bet. You know, jumping up like this, neutral, and using this forward, probably not really going to be used that much. Maybe in the Urian matchup, it could be used and has some utility, and a few other matchups that Ken probably does pretty well against anyway. So there is that. Let's go into his special moves. He of course has his Hadouken. Very straightforward. Now Ken in this game isn't really all about his Hadouken. He's more about his uppercut. Light is very strong. Medium is 2 hits, but doesn't really change the visual of it other than it goes a little higher. But the Fierce is a fire uppercut. More hits, more damage by itself, but you don't really get a follow-up after. If you use a light in the corner, you can do that. You can do another light and hit them again with another uppercut. You can even do a medium uppercut against some characters. His light uppercut, when using it to hit them, especially in the corner, let's say if you're confirming into an uppercut, you'll want to use the light one. If you're going to be waking up, if the opponent knocks you down and you want to wake up with an uppercut, you should probably alternate between your light and your Fierce. Now you would want to use your light against characters that don't have a very strong meaty game, because it's very quick, get you off of them, and possibly has the least punishable window. It's still very punishable, and if you whiff this, you're probably just gonna get punished anyway. But it's very quick, and it gets you right back into the game. The Fierce uppercut. The Fierce uppercut is much harder to stuff, but at least in my experience. But it hits multiple times, and it's just gonna probably power through whatever they stick out, unless they have like a godlike perfect timed meaty. His Hurricane Kick. You're not gonna really use your Hurricane Kick on the ground either. His Hurricane Kick is more used in the air, used for kind of advancement and mix-ups, getting on the other side. The light one, when to use the light one, you want to jump and do it a little late. If you do it early like this, it doesn't really serve a good purpose. It's very telling. They see it. But if you do it a little later, you can see how it kind of, if you just get the timing down, it does that, and it doesn't much. It's much more effective, I guess I should say. But the EX version is great for escaping, chasing people down that are running away, and what are you barking at? Hey, don't bark, Jazz. Shh. And if you make a right call, it can take off a lot of damage, especially like if you're pressuring someone in the corner and they jump away. Don't bark, God. And they're jumping away. You can catch them on the way out, and we'll get into that later. So basically, yes, his uppercut is his best move, and Ken in Third Strike is known for his uppercut. Jazz, you better start barking. Let's talk a little bit about Ken's target combo. It's strong Fierce, looks like that, and it can go into any of his special moves, but you would want to go into his light uppercut. The others will whip, as you can see, like that. He can go into Hurricane Kick, but again, that's not what you want to do. So the thing about his target combo is that if you have meter, you can just go into super. Very bread and butter combo for Ken. If you're starting out with Ken, get this down and learn this, and start punishing with this just to get your bases covered and get your momentum going. And later in the video I'll tell you about the harder punishes. Target combos, you can also throw in a Hadouken for an extra second of pick confirmation, I guess, or a little bit of style. I prefer just going right into the super. So since I talked about the target combo into super, let's just go into his other ways to combo into super after landing a hit. This is his overhead, and it can only work after crouching. 11 hits, make sure you hit it. Jab, short, or I'm sorry, short, jab, short, 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 oh god, short, short. Of course low forward. He's crouching now, but just for showing purposes is fine. Overhead, oops. Let's see, the distance is like right about here. Nope. There it is. 10 hits. Let's see. Standing strong. Of course, low forward. You can even cancel the first hit if it's light Tatsu or any Tatsu into super. Of course, uppercuts into super work. You can do jab, jab, short into super, like that. You can even do jab, jab, super. That's his crouching strong. That's a link. Yeah, I guess I should specify which ones are links. Standing strong is into a super is link. So a link is meaning you have to wait, or you should wait till the animation of the normal is all the way complete till a super comes out. Crouching strong is cancelable, but you don't have to cancel it. You can wait for eternity until you confirm the super. So this should be a link, this is a link, this is a link, and those are Ken's 3 basic links that all Ken players should know to go into his super. Let's see, Crouching Fierce. Crouching Fierce can of course go into super, but you really don't want to use this unless you're playing this footsie game and you're playing against a character like, let's say, Alex or Urian, and they stick out a normal and you want to beat it right there. You can start beating a lot of their normals right as they come to meet you, and you can cancel right into super, and you can just buffer it. If it hits and it hits early enough, the super will come out and combo them. Now the cool thing with Ken is, even though he doesn't have meter, he can still do damage off an overhead. Sorry, it's been a while. Oh, he's not quickerizing, no wonder. Wait, why is he blocking this? As you can see, Ken can combo his overhead into uppercut. Now he can tack on good damage after an overhead if you do it on their wake up and you do it at the correct timing. It does have to be fairly meaty, but to be honest, his is one of the his is one of the easier overheads to combo into his other moves. So as a Ken player, don't feel that you lack any options just because you don't have meter. You do still have overhead threats And in general, even if you're not able to combo after an overhead, you should still throw them into your game. Mixes the other player up, and they actually have to be thinking other than just worrying about throw and down back. Alright, let's get a little more into his strategy and overall gameplay. Ken's throw. This is Ken's throw. Neutral is his pummel grab. The more you mash it, the more damage it does. Otherwise, back or forward throw, he'll do this. Just toss him over, back throw. He'll, I think it's called like hail wheel kick or something like that. He rolls and throws them. Very fun throw to actually hit people with. I'ma take you for a ride. Anyway, so Ken has Cara throws, but they're dismal. They really don't move him anywhere. You can see he barely moves. His best one is his back throw, used with forward, or it's used this forward kick, but this one is the one you want to use. It's back. It's using his axe kick, but it does throw them backwards. So the thing with that is you really only want to use it in certain situations. Some of the situations that you would want to use would be, you know, using the Cara throw to just get a little bit of distance during, let's say, like a Jin block string. You know, when that young player is pressuring you and he leaves a little bit of a hole, and the Cara throw just helps you grab him that much, you know, a little bit quicker because it moves you a little bit forward. And you know, maybe if you block a universal overhead or something like that, the Cara throw is great for closing the distance just slightly faster. Those are just two of the applications that I see 5-star, the American Ken player, use, and it's worked out for him, so that's why I added that. Also, let me add with his forward kick. He has this, not that great though. He has this too, which is forward in Roundhouse. I don't know, this is some kind of weird pseudo mix-up that I never use. If you let go, he'll do this overhead. Didn't really speak about that in the beginning, but to be honest, they're never really used, and in Third Strike they are very, very risky. So with Ken, it's important to know the distance and range and properties of your normals. Low forward, of course, is going to be your main zoning and hit confirming tool. When you're like this, you can hear me be still tapping the buttons and buffering the super. If they run into this, the super will come out. But be wary if you do an ill-timed low forward and they dash and then block and you do this, it will still come out. Same with any of the other buttons that you use to hit confirm into. And now, I hear people use hit confirm in... Nah, never mind. So, the cool thing about Ken is you can play him however you want. You can play him defensively, you can play him offensively, you can just go in, or whatever you would like to do. Ken fits many styles, from jungle strike to very conservative play. So if you're starting out, don't think that Ken is not going to be able to fit your style. You can play Ken however you damn well please. Once you understand the inner workings of Ken, he fits many styles. So let's just go into what you do in different areas of the match. When you're at this range, you're basically, like I said, looking for your hit confirms into super hits, and using your low forward mainly. Maybe as a counter poke, if they whip something, you can use crouching medium, but that's a little more advanced, and you got to be fairly quick for that. If you don't really have meter, maybe you want to stand a little further out, and if they use anything, then you want to maybe use your roundhouse to counter poke, because it does give you that knockdown. If you don't have meter and you're this far out, even if it hits, you can see that a lot of stuff will whiff. And even the Hadouken won't combo. So you don't really want to be using the low forward if you're trying to, you know, optimize yourself when you're playing at this range. If you don't have meter. If you do have meter, please counter poke into that super. Another note to note about Ken is that he has this super, which you can see, you know, it doesn't do like an insane amount of damage, but the overall damage is ridiculous because he has 3. He can have 3 supers. Basically, if it's the last round of the match and you have 3 supers, you basically only have to hit the other person 3 times. Each time should go into super, because almost any button you press with Ken can go into super, all requiring different timings and setups, but again, you can almost always go into super. So again, at this range you do have access to your low forward, your crouching roundhouse, and your standing roundhouse. Now you can see his standing roundhouse probably goes the furthest, and it's great at this range too. Moves him forward, stuffs a lot of other buttons when the other guy's trying to press, and even on block you're still in great position as far as what Ken is comfortable in. So as far as that range, that's kind of what you want to use. If you're going to be jumping, you want to use roundhouse. You can switch up the timing to do it really early like that. You can see how it hits higher up. Or you want to do a really meaty one like that. You can switch up your timing when jumping in if you know the person's prone to parry, or if they just block it. Still, we'll switch up the timing as far as what you're able to do when you land. Otherwise, you know, jump in and parry, bait out an uppercut or their anti-air when you're, you know, at this range. So that's your option. Of course, Ken's dash is very good too, so after you kind of scared them into blocking with your superior normals, you can always dash in. Maybe throw them, dash in from this range, short super, dash in, you know, put them on block stun, and then because you've thrown them, and you should be throwing them as a Ken player, as any player you should be throwing people, but you know, I always stress that, but you know, I guess it needs to be said. Once you're in this range and you're able to do your lows into super, you're able to effectively throw them. You know, a lot of people, I rarely get thrown in a lot of the newer games because people are so bad at hiding their throws. You know they can do every combo of their character, they can do all their dumb vortexes, but their like actual basic gameplay as far as footsies and using their normals other than in combos is just horrid, and people telegraph throws. And the whole thing with third strikes is if you're good at throwing and you're good at making the person feel like they're gonna throw, you're able to hurt them a lot, because when you do bait out a throw, Ken has quick normals. He can easily punish him and go into his super, or if he's in the corner, you know, he'll bait out a throw and then like do low forward uppercut, back in another uppercut, good damage, and then he's right back into your face and he gets to mess with you more. So again, while after this range and you feel comfortable in advancing, you know, a lot of times you don't even have to advance. You can stay at this range and bully them with your normals. But if you feel like you want to advance, the options after dashing are throwing. So I'm kind of repeating myself, but there's just a lot of things that Ken can do. Short, strong, fierce, and you want to do it at this range because his dash ends right in front of him. If you dash at this, you see how he's still kind of in the dash animation because he's too close. You want to know the distance of your dash, and that's the same range as kind of his low forward, so it works out perfectly there. So at this range he has access to his low forward and his other strong normals at that range, but when you dash, it's at the perfect distance to where it ends right in front of him and you can go right into whatever normals you're doing. Dash forward, walk back a little bit, often will get the other player to whiff throw, and again, after they whiff throw, you would do something like low forward into uppercut, super, or crouching strong into super, standing strong into super, which that's my favorite to punish throws. With standing strong, it hits them, you have a long time to hit confirm into super, and it's just kind of cool. Oops. There we go. That's 10. You knocked him down, whatever. Let's throw him just for the sake of it. And you can start off, let's say, doing something like that. Now, if you time this right, it can be a fairly good meaty. He's not critical one, so it's a little odd, but it can be a fairly good meaty. It goes into his other moves, and when someone blocks this, you see it pushes him slightly back, but he's still in a great area for crouching strong, standing strong, low short will even hit. You can even do stuff like that, kind of like a frame trap. See how he can kind of walk forward after that? Now, while you're walking forward, they can definitely hit you, but they don't want to because of the options you have to do after you follow up like this. If you do the strong furious, it pushes you right here. You still have access to your low forward, your standing roundhouse, and your sweep. You can even do a delayed EX fireball if you feel so. After people block this, sometimes they tend to try to jump out of the corner, and you can try to catch them that way too. You know, like some Ken players know people are going to jump out and they just jump back roundhouse and they'll walk forward to gain their distance back. So you throw someone, you know, do this. You could put them on block stun and walk forward and throw them, let's say. Like, this is just like an example of how Ken can go about you know, playing with someone. You would throw them, put them on block stun, and then you can easily walk in and out of this throw range. See? But you walk half a set forward and you're already in the throw range. So that's a little game that a lot of Ken players can play. You can do it with the low short too. You know, after putting them on block stun with low short, you can go into throw blocks. You can do this into overhead. You can do this into crouching strong. But again, this isn't gonna combo. This is kind of just so in Third Strike. A lot of times you don't immediately go into like moves because, you know, people can be prone to parry, and you know, they'll most likely do pretty good damage off of a parry, and that's why you kind of sometimes stagger your moves. Sometimes you wait for someone to get up and then do a delayed hit. It's a very deep wake-up game, and it's really, really fun when you have two players that are playing that game. It's very fun. Great meaties on the wake up close is that standing furious. Be careful, EX fireball is punishable in the corner. You're very close, so be careful of that. Especially Ken. Ken can, you know, reverse fire or reversal super almost, well, just a bunch of stuff when he blocks them, especially in the corner. So let's look at other things. Like let's say you wanna do a universal overhead when he wakes up and he blocks it. You're still in range to hit your standing strong. You're crouching strong. You know, maybe you want to move back and then do your low forward. Something that's fun to do on their wake up is do low forward whiff, standing jab, and then right into throw. A little fun thing to do. I'm also going to link a video I did in the past, a Ken Corner Quickie, that will explain a lot of what I'm talking about. So I'll just link it here. So I don't know, there's an annotation over here. Go ahead and click it if you're interested. So just a brief overview, when you're in this position and you're comfortable with your normals and you're using them correctly, you will then have the opportunity to advance and get closer and have more opportunities to mix someone up. Again, if you're jumping in and let's say that you make them block a roundhouse, you can go in, hit. If it hit, you can go into short. If it hit, you can do strong fierce. If it hit, you can do low forward uppercut. Whatever button into super or uppercut is fine. Now, when they block it, when you block something and you go right into it, that's fine. No worries there. But it can be red parried, and again, only more advanced players are going to do this. But just noting it. Also, after you do this, maybe delay your attack for half a second and then throw them. Or you jump and block, you walk forward, walk back real quick, and then, maybe they stick out a move, it whiffs because you walked back, and then you can punish it with standing strong, crouching strong, low forward, something like that. You can do stuff like that. The dash it can be punished, but because you do it, if you do it jump in from a far distance, you're not at the range to throw. So let's say because you're jumping at a far distance, the person isn't going to be expecting to throw, so you could dash up and throw them. I did that too early. Stuff that I see players like 5-star and other Ken players do, good Ken players, they'll jump in and they'll start walking forward, and they know the person is going to try to hit them or jab them before he gets up to the throw range. So he'll do stuff like jump in roundhouse, he'll block it, he'll walk forward a step, down parry their attempt to stop you from moving forward, and then go into whatever his max damage combo is at that point. So this is his max damage punish, excluding the things I talked about as far as jump-ins and certain red parries. It's fierce, strong uppercut, before the second hit, cancel into super. Good damage, good stun. And you could see that after one or two of those, someone is going to think, I don't want to whiff anything that's going to be punishable by that. So that is basically it, guys. I just kind of wanted to touch on each little part of Ken to help you get started and get you kind of a base and to see his potential. Players to watch, if you want to watch American players, there's 5-star, there's a bunch of great Ken players from Japan. Obviously there's Deshi Ken, Spellmaster J, if you can find videos of Unuki's Ken, which he normally plays Chun, or that's his main, but his Ken is really nasty too. Players like Kashi is fun to watch, even though they don't rank him as highly as other Kens, but yeah, there's so many Kens out there. Go ahead and check that out if you're interested in Ken, and any other links that I feel will be useful, all I also put in the description, along with all my other links, and yada yada yada. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope this helps a little bit if you're starting out, and I'll see you later.